Hey bookworms, it's me Amanda. Today I am here with the first episode in a brand new series that I'm going to start, and it's going to be called Hooked on Books. While the title is semi-cliche, I'll give you that. I hope that this series will be anything but. What I'm going to be doing in this series is taking a series of books, whether it be a trilogy or 5 books, 10 books, whatever, or just a single book, and telling you guys how I got started in the fandom, what made me read the book, what I like best about the book, things like that, to kind of give you guys not really a review on a different series, but just kind of tell you the reasons why certain fandoms, certain books mean so much to me. So, as you guys can probably tell by my t-shirt, I'm going to be starting with the Percy Jackson and the Olympians books / fandom. I have all of them here on my lap. I own all of them. I don't know where my copy of The Lightning Thief went, but I've got The Sea of Monsters, Titan's Curse, Battle of the Labyrinth, The Last Olympian, Lost Hero, Son of Neptune, Mark of Athena, and the House of Hades. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to put the House of Hades and the Mark of Athena, Son of Neptune, and the Lost Hero, otherwise known as the Heroes of Olympus series, in with the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, just because I feel like they flow the best together. I got started in the Percy Jackson fandom by a friend of mine. We went to church together, and it was in about 7th grade, I believe. She came over to my house, and we wanted to find a movie to watch. So we went to our local Redbox, and I let her pick the movie because she was the guest. She picked the movie Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief. I had never heard anything about the books, heard anything about the movies. I was still very sheltered, even at the age of 12. But my parents got approval, and so they popped in the movie and let it play. I remember sitting in the living room and watching it and thinking the movie was pretty cool. There was some cursing in there that little me didn't like so much, but you know, whatever. And when it was time for my friend to come home, she told me that the movie was based off a series of books that I should read. I was hesitant to read the books at first just because I never read something with different sort of gods in there, and I am a Christian, so at that point in my life I was a bit hesitant. Now I'm totally fine with it, but at that time I was a bit wary of it, if you will. But with my parents' permission, I began to read the books, and I was instantly hooked. If you guys watched my fangirl / fanboy tag, then you know that, you already know this, but I started reading the Percy Jackson series at a time in my life where not a lot of people were friends with me, and pretty much as soon as I started actually reading the series, it was a couple weeks later, and by that time school had started again, and my friend and all of the others had pretty much decided they no longer wanted to be friends with me. So I could relate to how Percy was feeling in The Lightning Thief, an outcast. You know, he wondered what was wrong with him. He had all these struggles to overcome. I definitely could sympathize with him. I also fell in love instantly with Rick's writing. He used wit and sarcastic humor, which are the two things that I live my life on, basically. So for him to be able to portray wit and sarcasm in writing is really hard to do, but he did a really good job. And that just kind of endeared the books to me a little bit more, just to read someone who writes a lot like how I think. It was like, oh hey, look, I'm not crazy, I'm not the only one. And I started, when I ended The Last Olympian, I was very sad, and then I found out there was this other series, The Heroes of Olympus, and at that point I waited to read The Lost Hero for a couple years, simply because I thought the series was done. I didn't know that there were more series, and then I think I was about 14, and I was walking through Target, and I saw in an end cap, I saw The Lost Hero by Rick Riordan, and I was just standing there like, I know who Rick is, I know these books, is this like a spin-off series? But it wasn't. It was actually, it was a spin-off series, but not in the way I thought. It actually just kind of moved right along with the storyline, and so, you know, I grabbed that book and I read it, and I read The Son of Neptune as soon as it came out, same with Mark of Athena and the House of Hades. And I enjoyed all of them just as much as I enjoyed the Percy Jackson series. My first thoughts on the series were, like I said before, I really enjoyed it. I remember reading the books and thinking, this is nothing like the movie. I love the books way better. And I remember just thinking that Rick's writing was great. I really admired him. I wanted to write like him. And I've also got those books to thank for introducing me to the world of fanfiction, so you can judge if that's a good thing or a bad thing for yourself. So, yeah. I could relate most to Annabeth and Percy, which is about as cliche of an answer as you can get, but seriously, because with Percy, he's got a lot of stuff, like, not physically, like, in the books there's an explanation, but physically he's got ADHD and dyslexia. That's something that he has to get used to in the mortal world. And I could kind of understand, like, the struggles that were described that he went through, especially in The Lightning Thief, of him trying to compensate for those struggles and for the things that were wrong with him, because I spent a lot of my life compensating for things that are wrong with me. So it was like, you know, I share your struggle, bro. The struggle is real, and people don't always understand, and that's something that kind of encouraged me. And like I said before, the books did get me through probably the roughest time of my middle school years, so that was good. I could relate to Annabeth because she's so much more mature than her peers. And that's not to say that I'm, like, better than you guys. There's a difference between being more mature and better. I'm not better, but I am more mature than most people my age. And that's something that Annabeth and I kind of had in common. She and I both are just different. We see the world in a different way than most people do. And I think that's a struggle that is very real, especially when, you know, we look at other people our age and we go, I want to be like them, but at the same time I don't really. And so I kind of know how Annabeth felt with people her own age. They're idiots. And then at the same time, I kind of got from her that there's that sort of, not need to belong, but that want. Like, she wants to be accepted, she wants to have friends, and it was just hard for her. But I'm glad that she found Percy, because they might not be any similar at all. They're polar opposites, but they work well together. The Heroes of Olympus series, I could relate most to Piper and Leo. Leo, because he was very humorous. He used humor to hide stuff going on in his head. Like, if he was hurting or sad or depressed, he would use humor to cover it up so that nobody else knew. I don't do that, but I do use humor a lot to compensate and cover up for how I'm feeling. Not in a bad way, not in a, like, you should feel sorry for me and try to see past all that. No, just in a way, like, it's just, I don't want to bug anybody. Like, it's just, I'd rather give you guys humor. I'd rather give somebody humor than, like, make them feel sorry for me. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do at all. So, plus, Leo's humor is a lot like mine, which can either be a really sad thing or a really good thing. I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. But I could really relate to him in that also. For a while with my friends, I was always the third wheel. I had a lot of friends ask me to be like their wingman, so to speak, and then like go up to a guy with them while they talk to the guy, and they'd send me off, just be like, oh, we're done with you now, I'm gonna talk to him alone. And then they'd start dating, and it would be really uncomfortable. Even if I didn't know the guy, I knew the girl, and it was just really awkward, because it's like, well, I helped you, like, what? That's not to say that Leo didn't go. That's not to say Leo went through that. It's just I know how it feels to be the third wheel, so that's kind of relatable. Also, I relate to Piper in that I really hate superficiality. If I found out that I was an Aphrodite child, I would die, because just those girls are not... Those type of girls, I run away from. I will not do that. I will not engage in anything with them, because it's just not worth it to me. Piper and I are very alike in that we're both infuriated by people that think that power comes from walking all over people. Power comes from looking pretty, and if you're not pretty, then you're worth nothing. And it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter how you look compared to how you treat people. And I remember as soon as I read about Piper's character, I was like, her. She is me in a book. Finally. A lot of people in the fandom don't like Piper, and I don't know why. Some people say she's a Mary Sue, and I don't think that's the case. If you want my honest opinion, here it is. I think that people don't like Piper because her struggles are not the typical demigod struggles. Let me explain. Most demigods, think about Percy, he has to struggle with ADHD, dyslexia, which are caused by being a demigod. He has to struggle with the prophecy, which is supernatural. He has to struggle with, you know, all the gods hating his guts, which is supernatural and self-inflicted. Annabeth has to struggle with most of the same things, plus family objects, but we never really get to get insight into that. Nico D'Angelo has to struggle with loneliness, which is self-inflicted, but it's not normal. Like, his degree of loneliness is not normal. Piper's struggles are typical, normal, average, ordinary girl problems. She gets insecure about her boyfriend. She gets insecure about her friendships. She doesn't like how she looks all the time. She worries about things, about how she appears to people. She questions her abilities. Those are normal things that every girl goes through, every dude goes through. And I think that people don't like her because her struggles are not like the others. Her struggles are not supernatural. They hit really close to home because you're going through that too. Lots of times people they don't want to see their own struggles mirrored back at them in a character. It just bugs them. So they take it out and they turn it and she's a Mary Sue. But that's not the case. I'm here to tell you, I have been in a dating relationship for 6 months now, and I still get insecure sometimes. It's normal. Piper's insecurity about Jason is not, it's not abnormal, it's not weird, it's not Mary Sue-ish at all. In my opinion, Piper is a good character. I don't care what you guys say, I think that she is a good character. She just has different struggles, and people don't like seeing the obvious thrown right back in their faces. Sorry to turn this into a rant, by the way. I felt like it needed to be said, so I said it. I went ahead and said it. So there you go. The movies were okay. I said this before in my fangirl tag. The movies were fine. I think as book-to-movie adaptations, no offense, but they sucked. As actual movies, they were really good. Like, I really liked them as movies, just not book-to-movie adaptations. Like, come on, guys, you could have done better. You really could have done better, guys. I think I would visit Camp Half-Blood. What drew me to the books, besides the characters and the setting, the premise, was just the world that they lived in, how everything was so warm and yet foreign at the same time, and how everything was hidden in something else, it seemed. It just, I got addicted to the books, I guess, because I just loved the world that Percy lived in. And so I would definitely, if I could go anywhere in the book, I would definitely go to Camp Half-Blood. Just to be there and be around that world would be phenomenal. Like, I just would freak out. I think I would die, honestly. So that's definitely where I would go. I'd also visit the Empire State Building while in New York, just because I want to see it, you know. That's really about it. Obviously, I do have one piece of fandom merch. I've got my Camp Half-Blood t-shirt. I got this for Christmas from a friend, and obviously this was like the best present ever, but that's the only piece of merchandise that I have besides all the books. I do kind of want to get, like, look online and see if they have any, like, camp necklaces. It would be really cool, especially if I could, like, customize my own and make a bead, because then I would do one for every year that I've been in the fandom, and I've been in the fandom since I was 12, so that's 12, it's almost 4 years, so I would get 4 different beads. Probably 5. I'd get 5 different beads, just to have, but I don't know if they make those, so yeah, I don't have a lot of merch. I don't have a lot of merch for, like, any fandom ever, so. That was it for my very first ever Hooked on Books series video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sorry if it was a bit rough. I'm still kind of working out the kinks in the series. This is kind of my test run video to see how it went. So I might come up with more questions in my future videos to ask myself about the books. I might have to do a redo of this video, who knows, but for now, I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a comment below with any books that you guys would like me to read and do a Hooked on Books video about, because I will definitely do that. Otherwise, I will see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to check out my Twitter and Instagram and Tumblr blog. They'll all be down below, as well as my personal blog if you are so inclined. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, or as fantastic as school can get for you, and I'll see you soon. Bye! Is awkward, but apparently, yes, I'm a charm speaker now. That's fantastic. Timer. I don't know what's happening. Why are people using timers? I don't even, wow, crazy hair up in here. I'm a demigod with messed up bangs. Like, what, guys, what is this? I don't understand. Why? I don't, like, what? It's like I have a bad cowlick or something. Like, I don't even know where this is supposed to go. What? No, there. Better, marginally. No? Yes? Good enough.